Hello everyone, my name is Webweaver and welcome back to another episode of It's Look Who It Is. Anything than writing the two, final chapters of my book. Motherfucker. Anyways, the obligatory Land Drifters PSYOP arc, which, I guess I gotta do, a disclosure, which I don't even know, I don't even know if I have to do a disclosure. I'm in, the official Discord, and I've, talked to the dev. Now, you might be like, you're in the official World of Horror Discord, and Panstash responded to, Actually, no, I don't think Panstash has ever responded to anything I said, because it was, the only interaction that I think I've had that Panstash would have, read would have been, 20 billion years ago when people were complaining about the lack of content in the game, and Panstash, at least in my opinion, pulled out the card of how many hours do you have in this game when you're making that complaint. And, everybody, the people who responded were like, yeah, I have 800 hours. And I was like, yeah, I have 500 hours. I wasn't complaining. But, I said that I have 500 hours. And a lot of people were like, they have 800 hours or whatever. I think that's the only Panstash adjacent thing that I've ever been involved with. But, we're just we're on an arc right now. YouTuber who's writing a book. Hey guys, did you know I'm writing a book? Not for money. It's a passion project. Look, one of the sketchiest pieces of writing advice that I ever got, and I think it's true, but I think it's bad as well. You know what I mean? Because it gave me the wrong idea. Oh yeah, we need to do the Land Drifters PSYOP thing. We'll do that in a minute. We'll do that in a minute, okay? We'll do that in a minute. But, things that I've talked about in the Land Drifters Discord and on the Land Drifters Steam forums actually did get, changed or implemented. So it's I guess that's the disclosure. We have exquisite taste? Motherfucker, this is not the economy to have exquisite taste. Fucking hell. And I know it's not, that easy. You can just be like, oh, yeah. I mean, we have the lucky bat, so we can kind of... We can kind of play around a little bit. Starting with a weapon actually makes this a lot easier. Because we don't have to worry about, getting a weapon from somewhere or somehow. But, it's we're on the piece of writing advice that I got was, when you are... whatchamacallit, when you are beginning to write, right? When you're trying to write for the first time, where the heck is the image 14? There it is. It's I shuffled my OBS around so much so that I could, capture clips when my friends and I are playing video games just for our own personal enjoyment. And it's I have so many, sources open in this, scene. It's crazy. I don't know where anything is anymore. But the piece of writing advice that I got is I was watching, a published author give a presentation or a class about how to write and about how to get into writing, how to build the habits, how to do it, not how to be a writer, because I don't consider myself a writer in any way, shape, or form, right? But how to do it, how to get in the weeds and do it. And one of those things, a very basic thing, a very beginner thing, was you need to get your style so that you can start refining your style, right? And the advice was that you should just write 3 crappy burner books. You should just write 3 throwaway books that you don't care about, that are just bad, and that you get those 3 out of the way, and then you work on your magnum opus. Then you work on the thing that you're passionate about. I hate this. What the hell, man? Okay, all smiles here. Yeah, we gotta get the money first, though. Don't forget about the money, though. That's a very important part. We need those funds. And I think that advice is probably true. Now, obviously, I'm on throwaway book 1, right? But the thing is, I mean, we're not doing the side quest. Fuck that. We're not doing the side quest. The thing about it, though, and where I take issue with it, is that in order to write, it has to be for me anyways, passionate. Like it I have to be passionate about it. I have to want to like burn the midnight oil. I have to want to be like involved every step of the way. And I have to be like I have to be in the zone, you know? I just have to be completely and utterly locked the F in, you know what I mean? It has to be something that I am so passionate about that I'm willing to like give up sleep, give up social interaction, give up like just like you know how when you play like Rim World or something, right? And then you start playing at like maybe like 8 p.m., maybe 7 p.m., and then you look at the clock and then it says like 6 a.m. and then you're like, "Oh, fuck." Like that like that has to be the level of immersion and like passion that I have for I need to be able to get lost in it. I need to be able to get lost in it. I need to be able to do it. I need to be able to. I mean, it's the lucky bat, bro. We got 8 luck. It's the lucky bat, bro. We're the luck build. We're the luck character. We're Yumiko, bro. Um, but I need to be able to like not only be immersed in it and get lost in it, but I also need to be willing to like ride it out in the sense of like, oh damn, you can't even that sucks, dude. 4 strength is kind of ass, not gonna lie. But I mean, we're probably gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I gotta be passionate about it, and it's very difficult for me to come up with an idea that I can't get into. You know what I mean? Like I have a lot of ideas for things that I want to write or make, and endless ideas. And the thing is that's very important is that all of those ideas are completely worthless unless they become something, right? That's the hard truth that I don't want to hear or listen to, which is that like having an idea for a story doesn't mean anything if I don't write the story, if I don't create the story, right? Like having an idea or a framework is completely pointless unless I put it into, all right, dog, be gone. She was chilling on the chair, but now she's like, no, I don't want to be on the chair anymore. I want to be on the floor. And it's like, okay, you're just going to run around and then you're going to start barking. You're going to get stanced up and then you're going to bark. And it's going to be really cute, but, only I'll be able to see that. I don't know, we can just, like, get a grip, that's fine. That's a charisma check, by the way, not a luck check. I remembered that. I don't care what that is, because we're just gonna take the injury, that's totally fine. And we don't even have to, like, worry about that. But anyways, the point of what I'm trying to say, right, is that it's gotta be something that I can, get into. And when I think of, like, a throwaway book, or like a trash book or something, or just something that I don't care about, I'll never write that. I'll never write that in a billion years. I do think that the idea of you have to write about like 3 books to kind of get like an idea of what your style is and how you want to write and how your workflow of writing is. I do believe that that's probably true. The only problem that I have with that is that like workflows and schedules is something that I've, it's one of my worst qualities, honestly. I mean, here's the thing. I can stick to a schedule if there's some sort of, like, social pressure to stick to the schedule. But if it's not something that I have, like, pressure to do, if it's something that I am opting in to do, it's like, it's never fucking happening, man. It's never fucking happening. It's true. It's Rue. It's Rue. We do have $1 billion somehow, so we could go to the festival and get a couple allies, maybe? That'd be pretty cool. We don't really need to heal, so it's like, maybe not the best, but, Fuji... Sure. I don't really like taking Fujiko necessarily, because it's like your kick does extra damage, but it's like, fine. It's funds, we have funds, we're not buying anything, it's okay. It's completely fine. It was a luck check, bro, I'm stupid. No familiar freaking faces, that's fine. It's good to just like pass the time. without any issue or worry. Ooh, okay, a little ribcage woman. She's weak to blunt, isn't she? This is a blunt weapon, presumably. This is a blunt weapon, presumably. What we could do... This is not great, but it's fun. Have you ever considered that? It's fun. It's a 98% chance to kill. I don't know why I say things. I don't know why I say things out loud. It really is just like I'm setting myself up in the funniest ways possible to fail. But you know, I'm bad at like self-imposed routines, you know? Very like throw it together last minute kind of person, which, you know, probably shouldn't. What's the luck check here again? One of these is like a knowledge check, right? It's like search the tent. Yeah, there we go. +2 funds. +2. It's like, yeah, no, it's a little bit weird. Okay, we can't run away from you, right? Yeah, okay. So it's just kill you as fast as possible, which is not good because you also cancel actions. So it's like 4 damage for 65%, or like... This is kind of crazy, dude. I'm dumb. Oh, no, that was perfect? What if it was perfect, though? So we're gonna take, like, 6 Doom, that's fine. So we can do, we can probably kill you, but, like, I'm not too... I'm a little worried about it, so... 2, 3, 4, 5. Good luck to me. Hell yeah. I wanted to get whatchamacallit, but I guess we're just fine to get Haunting Dreams, because that'll give us some value, even if we... You know, if you don't use Haunting Dreams at the end of the mystery, you have to count your blessings, right? You have to say that that's lucky. But yeah, no, I think that, like, it's bad writing advice in the sense of, like, I specifically need to work on things in a very, like, passionate way, and the idea of doing, like, a throwaway trash book is something that is technically true, but, like, I can't think about that while I'm writing, or it won't work, right? Because how are you supposed to... That was a misclick. It's where I probably wanted to go, but that was a misclick. It's like, whatchamacallit. You know, I need to... You know, I'm repeating myself. I'm going in circles here. History is a flat, roundy thing that we walk on. Motherfucker. Piece of shit. Piece of crap. Piece of junk. So yeah, like, the idea that I had for this writing project was originally it was going to be a trilogy, and I sort of came to the conclusion that I knew it. I knew it. You were going to walk around and you were going to get stanced up, and then you're going to start barking. It's very cute, but I knew you were going to do that. It's always when I'm recording, bro. It's always when I'm recording, sister. It's so rude. It's so Philip Sinclair Lust Defense. It's so rude. Yeah, it's fine. We're just gonna go straight to the building. It's fine. We don't need to do the side quest. We don't need to do the side quest. What if we did the side quest? I mean, it's like 37% Doom Mystery 3. We can do a little side quest. It's pretty bad. Like, overwhelmingly, that was pretty terrible. Was 2 stamina worth 15 EXP? Probably. Let's get a safe mansion as a treat. Just for me and you, right? But, you know, it was originally intended to be a trilogy. I realized a while ago that I probably underestimated how long the quote-unquote second, because it's all hypothetical, right? Like, it's not real until I've done it. It's not real until it is. And so I need to use, like, quotes. I need to use hypotheticals. You are scary. I'm just gonna leave this combat encounter, thank you. You know, it's not a real thing until it is real, right? There's no, like, purpose for me to talk about it this way. So when I'm saying, like, book or book 2, you know, you gotta put some quotation marks on there just in your head. You know what I mean? just like for my sanity, so I don't have to keep saying it like 20 times an episode. But like the book 2 would have been basically like a billion chapters long. Like it would be way too long because it's supposed to introduce 2 key things that both would need like 20 chapters for. You know what I mean? Like both would need like 16, 20 chapters. And then it also has like another ongoing thing that would probably be like 16 chapters, right? So realizing that, and here's the thing, it all flows rather well together. You know, it's not like a messy thing. It is very much like a point A to point B style of thing. It's just that between point A and B, there's like, or I should say, there's point A and point B, which would be like 16 chapters, and then point B to point C would be like 20 chapters, and then point C to point D, which is where it's supposed to end to be book 3, would be like 20 chapters, right? So I'm thinking that it'll probably just be like point A, B, and C, and then like point D, well, point D would be its own book, because originally, okay, I'm not explaining it well at all. Sorry, I am like trying to balance a silly little dog and then also the puppet matron and this run that is going surprisingly well, I guess I would say. But this is like kind of a nightmare scenario right here, where it's like, what if we just like if we don't hit, then we're just gonna run away. I think that's fine. I think we can probably do a little bit of schmoovin here as long as this hits. We can hopefully do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Yeah, well, 95%. Love to see it. Love to see it. Level 3 at last. I mean, I kind of hate this, but might as well. We spent 80 years in this mystery, man. Thank you for the healing. Thank you for the healing. Blood Moon? A Blood Moon stonks means that, we have fucking Ghostly Spear. Swing and a hit goes up with blood. Swing and a hit stocks go up with Blood Moon, okay? That's how it works. That's how the game works. That's true. That's Rue. Lust Defense from Philip Sinclair. That's Rue. Rue fact checked real. Frightening Flood or Abnormal Arms. This shit's scary, dude. This shit is terrifying. I mean, how do we kill this thing? Like, genuinely, how do we kill this thing? How do we kill the boss here? We don't do enough damage, we don't have enough accuracy. I think we gotta do it last, even though that means it'll be harder. We just have to hope that this mystery goes well, and we can get something that's preferably a little less cheesy than Ghostly Spear. Because the answer is Ghostly Spear, Ghostly Spear, Ghostly Spear, but, you know. It's not really like a fireball, 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 you know? It is the instant win button, but like, you know, we would prefer not to use it like that if we don't have to. But, what was I gonna say? So originally, I shouldn't say this. Originally it was going to be a trilogy, and then originally it was going to have, book 2 was going to be like, it introduces an entire thing, and then it introduces like the beginning of the next thing, and then book 3 would be the next thing and then the ending. But the thing is, the ending needs to have space to breathe. The ending needs to be its own thing, because the ending is supposed to be like 16, 20 chapters or so, right? Based on my experience of writing the first quote-unquote book, that's what I'm thinking. We can just like just slip, or like just fall unimaginably so. Both the school and the village are doomed, by the way, so we actually do need to make sure that the school is safe, because we have to go there. Yeah, let's actually do that right now, because we're apartment gaming for the rest of the mystery. But like, how do I put it? Gossip Junkie. I think I want to fight you, but also, like, it's not really... Gossip Junk... I was gonna do like half. I was gonna do jockey, right? Because obviously chicken jockey, gossip jockey. But I was gonna. I was doing jonky, like jajunken. Like I'm thinking Hunter x Hunter right now. Like what the heck? Oh, flip my phlegmatic life. It's true. It's true. It's Rue. We're doing that bit again. We're doing that bit again. We're just gonna run away. It's fine. Should we rest? I think the answer is yes. And then hopefully it'll work out, because this could potentially be a boss, which would be very annoying. Because then we have two pretty bad bosses back to back. Yep, that's why we rest. So we do a little 12 damage guaranteed. And then, I mean, we could do 8 damage, or we could do 12 damage again. What if you just did like 1 billion damage and instant killed me? What if I did that to you, bro? And so I kind of originally thought that, like, you know, maybe I could do the first half of 3 in 2, but then that would be, like, completely nonsensical, right? So I kind of just came to the conclusion that I needed to, whatchamacallit. Thank God we didn't get the bathtub cut off. That's fantastic. I just kind of came to the conclusion that I needed to, whatchamacallit, make it to where book 2, quote unquote, would be the immediate continuation from book 1, and then like half of that is that, and then introducing the major thing is the, you know, latter half, I suppose. And then book 3 would just be the thing it's supposed to introduce, and then ending and going into book 4. So I've accidentally made it a tetralogy, which is kind of funny. But, you know, I think that I'm content with that being, like, the bad books that I write. I think I'm completely content with that. Well, okay, you have to be very careful when you say, like, something like that, because that implies that, like, oh yeah, obviously then, the next stuff that I write will just be, like, completely, it'll just be goated, you know what I mean? Like, it'll just be completely goated. So, obviously, you know, everything that I write for a long time is going to be bad. Am I dumb? Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm really dumb. I'm super dumb, actually. I can't believe I did that. Holy shit, it did 4 damage. What am I doing? Like, why did that do, like, not 1 billion damage like I thought it would? Because I'm stupid, that's why. Because I'm silly. Because I am perhaps a little bit of an idiot. Little plus 2% Doom is a treat. I mean, yeah, like, it's a dangerous location, but we have roads closed, so it's a little bit better. I mean, we have to do this, which is not the order that I want to do it in, but it doesn't actually matter. Okay, so it did matter. Me when it mattered. Goodbye, empty bottle. That is 8 damage we are never getting back. You are weak to blunt. I'm so dumb. So we can maybe get another ally for +1 damage, but I don't want to. So we're gonna, because it would be the Theologist, because we can't go to the village because that's roads closed and doomed, and the forest is just roads closed. So I don't want to deal with that shit at all. But you know, I've been having this this thing with the sort of writing advice, right? And this is sort of where I was trying to go with this all, is that, like, I think I had to kind of come to the realization that, like, because it's never going to be good right off, like, you're never going to be good until you fail, you know what I mean? Like, you have to fail first, and then you can be good. But the problem... Okay, we do need to be very careful here, right? We do need to be very careful here. So this is... We do have an Indomitable cut, so it's 12. 11? And then I'm willing to go down to 10 just to make this a little bit neater, right? I'm willing to You feel this could be the power attack, by the way. So maybe we want to do like this. The power attack would kill us, right? I don't remember when the power attack is. This would take you down to 14, then that's like completely useless for us. So actually what we need to do is we need to forget Ghostly Spear so that hopefully you're just doing double damage if it is the power attack, and then we live and kill you. You're taking 7 damage? You piece. You piece. Taking 7 freaking damage. But I guess the thing is, one of the things that's a little bit scary is when you look at modern discourse around stories or like modern media literacy, it's like the scariest thing imaginable to try to be like somebody writing something new. So I do actually have to pay attention to this, right? So this is -3. So -0, -3, Doom, 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 -3, -3, question mark? -3, -3, question mark? Yeah, -3, -3. Okay, we're fine. It's like the scariest time to be writing something because it's like I see like okay, I'll give you a great example, right? There was a comic that I saw on Twitter, and it was about this person, and now I do have to figure out how to talk about the oh fuck, what was the second enemy? I think it was like Infested Girl, right? Because the first enemy we handcuffed, it was the Obsessed Man. I have to figure out how to talk about this because, like, you do have to be careful with stuff like this on YouTube, but also I'm not going to use, like, the Newspeak stuff that I used to use, because, like, I thought that it was like, yeah, it's a little tasteless, but, like, you know, it's just sort of, like, how you have to talk about it from the perspective of YouTube, but it, like, undervalues it, you know? It undersells it so much. It's so bad. So I really don't like it, because people are like, you know, unalived or slimed. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, slimed is at least kind of funny, but, and I do think the thing with Kermit is kind of funny too, but, like, it's just, like, you know, it's just a whole thing. We're talking about media literacy. It's important, you know? But, you know, it was like people, it was like this artist made a comic about like their personal experience in their life and sort of like the stuff that they went through, and it was sort of like an after the fact thing where it was like they were making a comic about the person who, you know, was abusive towards them. That's underselling it a little bit, but it's, you know, better than the more like Newspeak way of saying it, which I do have like anyways, going on with the actual like thingamabob, right? Whoops, it was festival. It was Fear Festival, what the heck? Is they were making a comic about the person who was abusive towards them, right? And it was very obvious that this is what it was, because it was essentially like, I wonder if the person who abused me would see like the media thing that I created and then remember who I am, right? Do they even remember me? Would they even realize? Would they even know? And it's a very interesting sort of like, I don't want to say like a venting comic, but it's a very like it's a very good web comic. It's a very good thing that they like. Well, I shouldn't say good, because, you know, that has specific connotations, but, like, it was a very insightful, it was very interesting, it was very well made, and it was not obscure or, like, difficult to understand at all. You didn't need to do a double take. It was very, very obvious what it was from the start, because it is the... Like, even as somebody who had never seen that, like, comic artist before, who had never seen their Twitter before, who had never seen anything about them, their art, anything like that, right? It was very obvious to me. I didn't even have to do a double take, because you have this character presented in the comic strip who is, you know, evil, and you have the caption before you read the comic, which is like, do they even remember me? And then you see the evil character who's a representation of a real person, going through this moment of like picking up the comic that the artist made, and you can not only see that it's like it's very clear what's happening because the book that they pick up was written by the person who made the tweet. You know, it's not subtle, it's not, there's no, you know, there's no implication, there's no subtext, there's no, oh, well, there is subtext, right? There is subtext, there is implication, but from just the basic reading comprehension of it, there's nothing complicated about it. You have a character who is obviously not a representation of the author because the author represents themselves differently. And that character is picking up a book written by the author of the comic, right? It's very, very clear in what it's trying to say, what it's trying to be. It's not there's there's that one saying that it's like, I know writers who use subtext, they're all cowards. There's nothing difficult to interpret here. It's not like anything that's difficult to interpret at all. It is just very clearly laid out before your eyes. But yet, every single comment, almost every single comment, was, yo, twin, this makes you look like the abuser. And there were so many people who were commenting that over and over and over and over again, who were saying, like, yo, bro, why did you make the comic where you're the villain? Or why? Like, there are some people who thought that the bad things that this representation person did was the author. And it's like, I don't know how you get that reading from something that is so blatantly in your face. It's crazy. But then, you also remember things like, Guilty Gear Strive Bridget, like literally the meme of like character looking to the screen and saying their identity and then people still being confused. It's absolutely mind-boggling how, like, media illiterate people are, and it's very scary because as somebody who is trying to write something and who also has a fear of being misinterpreted, I know that's probably the biggest shocking Webweaver fact you could ever possibly imagine, right? I'm very scared because it's like the things that I want to write about are not like simple concepts, And so obviously, whatever I write in this very complicated way is going to be bad, and it's probably going to be offensive because I'm an amateur and I don't know what I'm doing. But you have to learn by doing. You have to, like, write the thing. You have to write the evil character and then gradually learn how to tune it. I don't want to compare myself to anybody who's, like, actually, like, great or a legend, right? But, like, a lot of early works from, like, authors or writers or whatever can start out really, like, edgy or, like, it can start out really edgy or more simple or more, like, obtuse. But then as it goes on, as they refine their style, you kind of see like, oh yeah, you get what they're going for, and then you're like, wow, this person, they wrote a good story, right? So, I don't want to compare myself to anybody else because I'm not like that, but, I'm an amateur and I'm bad. But it's like, in order to be good, you have to do it. And in order to tell, I'm not one of those people that thinks like, oh, if the story is happy, then, what's the point? Because suffering is like the reason you should tell a story, or like suffering is the interesting part about a story. I actually think that's the exact opposite. I think suffering is the boring part of the story. Not because like suffering is, because here's the thing. What I want from my stories isn't it to be like, horrible because the world sucks. It's that I want the characters to find joy and happiness in situations that aren't ideal. You know what I mean? That's what I'm wanting to go for. Those are the themes that I'm wanting to explore. And I'm bad at it because I'm brand new. And so, you have to get that sort of like awkward phase out of the way where you're like, figuring things out and learning how things work. But then you get to that point, right, where you see like very well-made things being misinterpreted because people are media illiterate. And there's this whole thing where it's like there was like this viral tweet that I saw the other day that was like, if you write, probably like a month ago because my sense of time is completely shot, but it's like I think about it like all the time. It's like, if you write a villain low key, if your villain does bad things, you're into that or you support that. And it's like, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? It's so, and people, that's like a sentiment that people have, and like how people interact with media in general is insane to me. Like, I have, and listen, no shade to some of my friends, because they're my friends, and but like I've talked to some people, and the way they engage with media is like terrifying. It's like, oh yeah, no, I selected to read this thing because it has the lesbian Yuri tropes that I like. And it's like, huh. I mean, listen, the time is limited on this earth, but like, I don't know, I I don't know, man. Shopping for books and manga by trope, like, I get it, sometimes you're in the mood for something that's action, sometimes you're in the mood for something that's psychological, but, like, the specificity that people do is, like, kind of nuts to me, where it's like, I want, lesbian enemies to lovers with these kinks and these tropes, and I'm only going to read books like this. And it's like, like, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think that that's engaging with it as, like, a work, I think that's more like consuming. And I don't know if there's a meaningful distinction or difference. It's just scary, Like, whenever you make something, whenever you put yourself out there, you're opening a, like, Pandora's box. You're opening a Pandora's box. You're doing the genie thing, right? And like you're letting the genie out of the lamp. You're opening Pandora's box, and that basically gives people like access to not necessarily intimate things about your life, but like when you write something, it is a very personal experience, and it's a very good way to like, it's a very good way to show, like, your emotions, almost, in a way. Like, it's a very good way to emotionally express yourself with writing and telling stories, right? I think it's really, I think it's been very therapeutic for me in a way to do writing, and I really enjoy it, and I really like it. Although I am having some sort of, like, strange, stupid, idiot brain disease where now that I'm on the last couple of chapters, even though I know exactly how I want it to go, it is very, very scary, and I'm sort of, like, paralyzed at writing and only writing, like, a couple pages every now and again. But, like, it's just nuts, man. It's just nuts. I'm losing my train of thought a little bit here, so I'm probably gonna wrap it up in a second, but, like, just, it's very scary to write something, because you're putting yourself out there in a way that makes you vulnerable to an extent, and because you're trying to tell, like, a story that means something to you, even if it's a fictional one, right? Even if it's a fictional one, you are trying to tell a story that means something to you, that you take seriously, that you like, that you wanted to tell that story so badly you wrote a fucking book. You know what I mean? You wrote a fucking book, you made a show, you did, like, you drew a manga, you drew a comic, you wanted to tell that story so badly that, that's something that you did. Or maybe you just did it for fun because, like, you have, that's your hobby, But either way, that does say something about you as a person. And then to see people reduce that to, like, oh, if you have a villain that does bad things, that's because you're a sick fuck. Or, I'm not going to read it because it doesn't have the romance tropes that I like, or it doesn't have, like, the tropes that I like. It's like, it's very scary. And I should not be, like, but I guess, the thing about when your brain is sabotaging you, is that it's not entirely rational, you know? But I should not be having these hangups because I haven't even fucking written anything yet. Well, I have, you know, I've written like, you know, I've only got 2 chapters left to go, but it's not real yet. It's not something that people can read yet. So that means that it's not real. So I haven't written anything. And so I am LARPing. That's the thing. That's the thing that I gotta get through my head. That's the thing that I gotta get through my head. Which is that, like, yes, I'm terrified of being misinterpreted, and the kinds of stories that I'm interested in writing, people will misinterpret. Because I've seen what people's media literacy is like. I've seen people's reactions to that webcomic I just talked about. And I've seen people's reactions to really good stories, willfully misinterpreting them or just misinterpreting them in general because, like, I don't know, man. It's to the point where I just kind of assume that everybody has bad media literacy until they can prove to me that they have, like, acceptable media literacy. Like, I just assume that the default is that you are media illiterate until I have a conversation with you, and then I'm like, oh, you know ball, okay, good, good, good. Which is pretentious. And bad, but also, I don't know, man. I just seeing people talk about that webcomic was just like really, that like vent webcomic just really bothered me because it's like, I wanted to say so badly, like, listen, you do not have to change this webcomic to appeal to illiterate teenagers. But, you know, I am, like, I don't know. I don't know. Paralysis in finishing projects is very interesting, and I hate it. So, you know, instead of working on finishing my book, I am instead recording a YouTube video. So anyways, have a good one, stay safe out there, bye. I'm gonna go try to work on that now.